Well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're hanging out with me. Live on the 18th of December in the morning in Vermont, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios. My name is Karen. Today's focus is have heart. Hey, we have a heart, so why not use it, right? So we're going to be doing some breath work, some very gentle back bending, which you will be offered the opportunity later in class to do things a little more deeply. I will not demo those, but if you desire, if you have blocks, grab them. Not necessarily for our back bends, but in terms of working some of our core, which helps support a warming of the whole body. So no rush on that. Nice to have you here. All right, we're going to start in a comfortable seated position. If you're sitting on something, which I recommend, you scoot your sitting bones forward so that your knees drop a little bit lower than your hips. And if you have found a very, what is the word I'm looking for? A very regular cross of your legs, you're going to cross them the other way. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Hands can be wherever it feels okay. If you'd like to take a mudra, whatever shape you want the hands to take, go ahead and let that happen. But if possible, allow the arms to rest or the hands to rest on the thighs. I'm going to take a standard, traditional meditative posture with the back of the right hand and the palm of the left and the thumb pads touching. Now we tend to hunch over, so especially in our have heart practice, we're going to go ahead and lift from the bony hips all the way to the low ribs, not very far on my body, and then upward through the chest to that beautiful little notch you have in your throat, and then just a little pushing back of the knob of the head and tuck of your chin. You might close your eyes or bring them downcast. We'll come into the breath. Maybe even this soon in practice, you start to notice the connection of the breath with the lift of the heart. Perhaps you consider creating a little pulling together of the shoulder blades behind you. Check out what the jaw is doing. See if you can loosen that. To really open up our energy channels, we're going to take the traditional Tibetan 3-part breath, taking the first 2 fingers of the right hand, placing them between and above your eyebrows, blocking the right nostril with your thumb. Breathe in through the left. Block both nostrils, pause, lift the thumb, breathe out right. This time we breathe in right. Block both nostrils. Release the left. Breathe out. A complete inhale left. Pause by blocking both nostrils. And open up the right. Breathe out. Inhale right. Block both. Exhale left. Inhale left. Block both. Exhale right. Inhale right. Block both. Breathe out left. Block both. Release your hand, breathe in through both nostrils. Pause, check in with your shoulders. What are they doing? Are they creeping up to your earlobes? See if you can make some space. And of course, I'm breathing out while I'm talking, but we're all going to exhale now. Right out the nose. Squeeze the belly in, push that breath out. Inhale again, all the way to the top, whatever the top means. Tuck your chin, gather the belly in, lower your shoulders, breathe out to the nose. And one more time. Long, full breath in. Lengthen that neck. Breathe out through the nose. And now we'll swish all of that away with a cleansing breath. Super duper breath in. Drop your jaw, vocally let it go. And back to a natural breath or a new natural breath, whatever that means for you. And close your eyes. And picture someone in your life who could use a little extra boost, a little love, a little softness, a little kindness. Maybe that person is you. And imagine a light emanating from your center chest out to that person. And each breath out, some of your kindness and compassion, or maybe forgiveness, love, whatever you would like to label it, softness, moves out on that beautiful ribbon of light from your heart to that individual. Press your palms together at the heart and see if you can scooch the thumb knuckles a little closer to the heart space. In the description of this practice today, I talked about heart or heart mind or soul. It doesn't necessarily right in the center of our chest, but that's where we often feel the kind of comfort and happiness, joy, compassion, love, and often our sadness. It can be influenced by the energy circle, energy wheel in the belly, and also the throat and the forehead. Very heavily influenced by the third eye, just behind the center of the forehead, which is why it's often referred to as heart mind. Bring to mind some sort of intention or motivation for the practice today. Let's celebrate that. Let's combine the sound of Om, that beautiful vibration that resonates with every part of nature, with this sort of ribbon of light from our heart. Breathe in. You can flicker your eyes open. Drop your chin toward your chest so your gaze moves toward your thumbs. And slowly create this sort of swing like a grandfather clock, the pendulum, left to right. And whichever direction your chin is moving, see if your eyes can move with it. So your stare does not become sort of central, but rather moves to the left and the right. And pause. Next time the chin comes to the chest, lift the chin parallel to the earth. You might intertwine the fingers. You might intertwine the thumbs as well. And we're going to take some figure eights with our wrists. Oh, yeah. Give it a little love right to the wrists. And now the humorous part, at least for me, is trying to go in the opposite direction, which is kind of crazy. I can't even picture what it's supposed to look like because I'm so habituated. That was the word I was looking for earlier. We're going to go ahead and stretch the arms long with the palms forward. Press, 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 and then lift up. Imagine you're not just lifting the arms overhead, but you are lifting from your sitting bones all the way to the tippity top. And then draw that belly in, scooch the low ribs toward the bony hips on the front of the body. I'm going to take a little cactus shape in our arms and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. And we're going to tick-tock again this time. We're going to move over to the left or the right, doesn't really matter. Squeezing the side body to bring the elbow closer to the hip. We're going to look down to the right, down to the floor first. and then up toward your lifted hand, your top hand. I'm going to rise back up and squeeze in the opposite direction. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Sitting bones stay on the floor. Eyes move downward toward the lower thumb first, and then toward the upper thumb. And rise back up. To open up our heart, we need to open our back and our shoulders. And to give warmth to the heart, we need to power up all the large muscles of the body. But we're going to start with more of the back movement. We're going to take eagle-shaped arms. We'll do this also later. 1 wrap or 2, doesn't matter which elbow is under. Draw the belly in, sit tall, press the sitting bones to the earth, release the thighs, and draw the elbows upward with the hands moving away from the face. Whichever hand is on the outer part, it doesn't really matter which hand. You're going to place a hand against the chest and float into a twist with the opposite hand swinging behind you. Move into a gentle back bend twist, dropping the hand behind us all the way to the earth, and then floating the opposite arm high. Lift, 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 and then see if you can lift the heart a little more toward the sky. Maybe even your gaze lifts toward the lifted hand. Lift and lift. And squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit. Loosen that back shoulder. Going to rise back up, both arms overhead. Press the palms together, and as you know, my favorite things is to bend the elbows and bring the hands behind the nape of the neck or between the shoulder blades. Head presses back into the forearms, belly is strong. I have activated my quads, so I'm going to try and loosen them. And then interlace the fingers again. Press the palms of the hands to the back of the head and open, open, open the elbows. Slowly glide the hands apart so that the fingertips are behind your ears. Reach with the heart, reach with the elbows, reach with the pelvis forward, and come back to cactus shape. Whatever way you didn't take your eagle arms, take that here. For me, it's my left under my right. It's a little more difficult on this side for me. My right shoulder doesn't like to cooperate, but we are calm and loving to the spaces of the body that don't work in the way they might used to. Elbows lift, wide across the shoulder blades. We're going to twist in the opposite direction. Hand to heart, opposite hand behind you, straight out of the shoulder. Gaze moves along with it, maybe even farther than your hand moves. And your floating hand drops behind you. Hand on the chest lifts high. A twisty back bend. Drop that shoulder of the hand that's on the ground and then lift the gaze up toward the hand that's floating. One more time, we'll rise up. And this time, the arms come parallel to one another in front of you. We lock them back into the shoulders, gather the belly in a lot. We're not going to shift from the shoulders. We're going to shift from the belly. Shift forward. Breathe in. Exhale, shift forward. As far as you can go. One more time. Breathe in. And shift. Drop your hands, drop your head. You might be able to, once you find your rounded spine, crawl the fingertips forward a little bit more. Breathe out, use the belly a lot, rise back to your seat. We're actually going to make our way down to our backs. I know, so unusual. Might take me a minute to meet you there. Moving my cushion, adjusting where the blanket is. You're welcome to keep the knees bent here or place a bolster or pillow or rolled up blanket underneath your knees, your choice. We're coming to our backs. We're checking in with the low back. We want to take the pelvis and shift it a little bit toward the sky, but we're not lifting anything off the earth. Let the feet be as wide as feels comfortable so that the knees are coming straight out of your hip bones, as it were. That sounds kind of funny. So that the knees are aligned with your front hip bones. Press the big toe mounds to the earth, and then see if you can take a cactus shape with your arms. If it's difficult, you can put something underneath the backs of your hands. I'm having more ease with one shoulder than the other. And you might scoot your shoulder blades one at a time toward the hips on the same side. And that can help out. Make fists of your hands and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Draw the belly in, breathe in. Squeeze a fist, breathe out, draw the belly in. Inhale. Squeeze those fists and then exhale, open up the palms. Let the fingers rest gently. If this is too much on your shoulders, you're welcome to bring the hands behind your head, the palms behind your head. What we want to attempt here, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, we don't want to be unsafe, so we're careful when we come back out of it, is to slowly press the triceps and the backs of the arms and the backs of the hands into the earth to lift the heart just a tiny bit. You might have the space to scoot the shoulder blades a little closer to each other. Lift, 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 and feel how things open up here. Loosen your neck by tucking your chin toward your chest. Breathe in. Let it all go. Breathe out. You might take your shoulder blades a little upward and press them to the earth. One at a time, the knees come in toward the chest. We give them a nice squeeze. Ankle circles. Fists with your toes. Open the toes wide. And then knee circles. We'll take 3 to 5 in each direction. So your cadence, your practice. Almost, but not quite, like having a little traction for your low back. A little traction action. And then we pause. Cross your ankles. You can bring your hands down to the mat beside you and rock and roll forward and backward, or whatever way makes sense. You're going to find your way to a seat. And then you're going to roll over your ankles here to come to a tabletop. I'm going to grab my blanket for my tabletop. And moving a little more deeply into the movements of the spine from a kneeling posture. Starting with cats and cows. Take them in your time. Just remember that each breath in, the belly drops, the gaze and the hips lift, and we press into the earth with the hands and the feet. And with every exhale, we continue to press into the hands and feet. Squeeze the belly in, round the spine, and drop the head, looking somewhere between the knees or toward the navel, rounding out the space between the shoulder blades. And then once we've done a couple, adding in other motion that calls to you. That could be a sway left to right. It might be one of the things that I love, which is a rolling tabletop, where you can press more energy into the tops of the feet. Find a cow on your way back into tabletop. Or you might find something else feels good, like hip circles. Wherever you go, ensuring to work a little bit of back bend in where it makes sense. I talked about using the big muscles. This is a good start. We're going to use a little bit more by working into a 3-legged tabletop. The right leg floats behind. Draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, extend back out. Knee comes above the right elbow. It might tap, it might not. Inhale, extend. Leg moves out to the right. We keep it off the mat. We swing it behind us. It crosses over the left calf, and we take a peek toward the right foot. We swing back, leg all the way to the right, and press the foot into the earth. Reach to the outer edge of the foot onto the ground. The hands walk backward until we're kneeling on the left knee. Standing up, standing on your knee, nice and tall. We're going to make sure the pelvis is tilted forward and glide the right hand down the right thigh. You don't want it on the right knee. It could go past. Now float the left arm nice and high. And again, it's a little bit of a twisty, back bendy, side bendy thing. Lifting the heart and opening up as if your left rib cage became as large as the ribs on a boat. Pick your boat, but not an inflatable one. Doesn't have ribs. And we're going to take the opposite by dropping the left hand to the earth or to a block and floating the right arm high. Don't forget to press the pelvis forward and the right foot into the earth. Maybe the gaze lifts up toward the floating hand. We come back into our tabletop with 3 legs of the stool, as it were. So we're turning this tabletop into a stool. Right leg behind us, knee to the nose. Inhale, extend, and draw the knee back down. A little wiggle waggle or some other goofy kind of phrase, label that you want to put on it. And we take that to the other side. Left leg floats behind. Knee and nose draw together. Extend. Knee comes above the left elbow, maybe taps, maybe does not. Squeeze the belly in. Inhale, extend that left leg. Draw the left leg out to the left. Sweep it behind you and over the right calf so you can take a peek over the right shoulder toward the left foot. Leg swings back behind and then out to the left. We drop it to the earth and use our hands to help us come to kneeling on the right knee. Pelvis presses forward. We adjust where we need to. The left hand glides down the thigh, right arm lifts, and tilt over toward the left. Remembering this is a have heart practice, so we come back to the sensations in the heart and the connection of the heart with maybe the stars, which could represent all the energy from all beings in the universe. And the right hand sweeps down over to the right, left arm sweeps up, pelvis forward, left hand floating. Pressing into the shoelace side of the right foot, the outer edge of the left. My left leg got a little lazy there, so I got to work it harder. And we sweep around, return to our 3-legged stool, as it were, left leg behind, knee to nose. Extend the leg and draw the knee to the mat. Now, I mentioned I've been practicing my downward dog with blocks, so I'm actually going to bring them into play for myself here. Hands move forward a little bit, like 2 inches. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees off the mat. Keep the belly drawing in. We're just lifting for a moment before we slowly breathe out and move into a downward facing dog. In your downward dog, you might pedal in and out of the legs. Shifting my blanket. And we're going to rise to the tiptoes on a breath in. Stay there for the breath out as the chest press toward the thighs. Take another big breath in and drop the heels all the way to the right. Peek a little bit under your right shoulder so you can keep your shoulders and your chest square to the mat. Lift up to the tiptoes again, breath in. Heels drop to the left on the breath out. Rise back up. And drawing the belly in, tippy toe all the way to the front of the mat. A fold. Any bind that you choose, allowing for the feet to be bony hips with distance. Knees are soft. And if you're not in a ragdoll, take a ragdoll. We're going to keep our ragdoll shaped arms to rise to standing so that eventually, once the shoulders stack over the hips, the forearms begin to float over the head. Working our half heart. Cactus shape arms. Softening into the shoulders, getting broader in the space that you are in. Hands drop to the sides, mountain pose, Tadasana. Coming back to your intention or your motivation. See how the heart might lift from that. See if you can tuck your pelvis forward just a teeny bit. Inhale, float the arms high. Continuing warming up with the large muscles. Exhale, fold over your legs. Let your head hang loose. Glide your hands to your shins, half lift along spine. Open the heart, open the collarbone. Exhale, forward fold. Fingers to the mat, step the left foot back. We're just doing this for a moment. Not coming into a runner's lunge. You're on the toes of the left foot. Draw the left knee to the nose and drop the foot back beside the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, float to standing. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Halfway lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Right toes tap behind you as far as you can get them. Right knee to your nose. Step the foot down, forward fold. Float all the way to standing. Arms draw in front of you, parallel to the earth. They lock back into your shoulders. Make sure the feet are bony hips distance, and we drop into a modified chair pose, Utkatasana. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the heart, drawing the belly in and up and the pelvis forward. Rise up to standing. Drop your hands behind you, the heels of the hands on the low back, fingers pointing down. You might take your feet a little bit wider, especially if you have wonkiness in your knees. And keep the knees a little agile, a little nimble, a little soft. We're going to press downward with the heels of the hands. So you're moving the flesh away from the shoulders, as it were. Bringing the pelvis forward, lifting the front body. We squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then that line of beautiful light or energy from the heart can lift up toward the sun, and the head might drop back. Little baby back bender, maybe you deepen it, pressing the flesh down, shifting the pelvis forward, lengthen the torso, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart, drop the head. Shoulders over the hips. Chair pose, Utkatasana, arms in front of you. Lock them back into the shoulders and then lift them high. Cactus shape arms can open up the heart and the collarbones a little bit more. If you have a big sway in your low back, see if you can press the tailbone toward the earth. And again, staying in our chair this time, we're going to do our tick-tock. Draw the right elbow toward the right hip. Squeeze the right lowest rib toward the hip bone. Keep the belly in. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, tilt to the other side. Inhale, draw back up, hands to your hips, rise to standing. Step the left toes behind you. I guess the rest of the foot has to come, but your toes onto the mat. So working balance here. See if you can spread your right toes. And slowly we're going to draw the left knee up toward the heart. We're going to cross it toward the right. Bring it back in front of you. And then lengthen the leg out to the left. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the thigh. And see if you can lift and tap, lift and tap, lift and tap. And then draw the knee up across the body again. Bring the knee in front and drop the foot to the earth. Shake it out if you need it. What has this got to do with the heart? Warm up the body. I'm hoping you're feeling warm. I certainly am. So energy into the feet, toes spread wide. We send the right toes behind us onto the mat. So we're creating some equilibrium here, but we're only using the toes of the back foot. We have to gather in the belly to help out. Slowly draw the knee up toward the chest. Activate the foot. Cross the knee toward the left. Bring it around in front. Extend the leg out to the side. You're on your toes. Slowly float and lower that right leg using your glutes, your IT area of your leg, your quad. And then sweep it around behind you again. Lift the knee back to your chest, across your body. Right in front and drop the foot. And shake that out. We're going to move now, still gently, but a little more quickly, in and out of vinyasa. Vinyasa being your half lift, it starts in a forward fold. Your half lift, your high plank, your low plank, your back bend, and your down dog. I will be dropping my knees for low plank and back bend. You are welcome to join me or not. So why don't we go ahead and come into chair pose to start. Inhale, rise up to standing. Breathe out, fold over your legs. Take a half lift and a forward fold. Step back for your high plank. I'm playing around with blocks here. Low plank. Into a back bend. Doesn't have to be deep. And exhale for downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Find your way to the front of your mat. We're going to do this 3 times. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, float all the way to standing. Arms lift high. Breathe out for a forward fold. Half lift. Long, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Step back for your high plank. Make your way to low plank. Find a back bend. Thighs on the floor or not. And exhale for downward facing dog. Use the belly a lot. Nice breath in. And out. We're going to take a little interstitial here, lifting the right leg off the ground. Nice and long and strong. And keep the hips square and press the chest back toward the left thigh. Draw the knee to the nose, coming forward with the shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, drop the foot to the mat. The right foot moves a little bit to the center and the left leg floats up. Breath in. Long and strong, hips square, chest toward your right thigh. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, foot to the mat. Rise to the tiptoes, bend your knees, make your way to the front of your mat. That could be a hop, a skip, a jump. Maybe it's a crawl, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Get wide in the collarbones, draw the belly in, exhale, forward fold. Rise up to standing. Exhale, breathe out and fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, a fold. Move back into your high plank. Pause for a moment, reach the heels behind, gather that belly in, and come halfway down for your low plank. Move into your back bend and breathe out for your downward dog. The breath in the right leg lifts high. Knee comes toward the nose as you move into a runner's lunge. Turn the ball of the back foot. In runner's lunge, we're not doing a back bend necessarily, but we are opening up the heart. So you're super long in the back leg. Maybe you draw to your fingertips so you can lift the belly energy from the right thigh and squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit together, finding the heart reaching forward. We'll move into a warrior one by spinning the back foot down to the earth, keeping the front knee bent, and rising up. Activate the left glutes. You might need to move outward with the right foot to find balance. I like to drop the hands by the sides to open up the heart. Inhale, lift the arms high. And exhale, hands to the earth or your blocks. Come to the ball of the back foot and heel toe that right foot out to the right. Point it to the right to find a twist over to the right. Maybe the back knee drops and you untuck those toes for your twist. See if the pelvis can shift forward as you press the right knee away out from the center, the midline. And the gaze moves as far to the right as you can. You should feel a little bit of this in your left hip flexor, the front of the left hip, maybe the quad. And if you're not feeling it in the quad, you might bend the left knee and reach around toward that foot, grasp it or not, for a deeper quad stretch. The right hand plants back on the ground. We heel toe that right foot inward and step into our high plank. Pause here. And lift your hips straight to downward dog or take your low plank and your back bend. Left leg floats high. Breath in. Knee draws to the nose. Runner's lunge on the left. Back heel spins to the mat, rise up, warrior one. Hands drop by your sides to open up the heart a little bit more. So you can see, even though we're focusing on the heart, we're not only doing heart work, we're imbuing heart work into other postures to ensure the body all gets awakened, all gets some strengthening and some stretching. Squeeze the right glutes. Inhale the arms high. Exhale, hands to the mat or blocks. Come to the ball of the back foot. Heel toe the left foot out to the left. Point the toes to the left and come into your twist on this side. Maybe dropping the back knee, maybe not. Maybe finding extra space in the right quad so that you can bend the knee and reach around for the foot. But rather than having the hips or the pelvis coming downward, send it forward toward the front of the mat. We come back around, hands to the mat. Heel toe the left foot in, tuck your toes under, high plank. Come halfway down, low plank. If your knees are down, let them stay down, but come back to a higher plank. Press away. Exhale, low plank. Press up, high plank. Exhale, low plank. One more time. You got this. Use the belly, high plank. And then we lower all the way down to the mat. Now I'll move my blocks out of the way. Once on the mat, we're going to take the head so that the right ear is on the earth. And bring your arms into a cactus shape so that they're outside, the forearms are outside the mat. And your elbows and shoulders roughly should be aligned. You're going to reach backward with your toes to get your bony hips on the ground. And then lift the navel a little bit away. So you're kind of pressing the tailbone downward. Take the left hand under your left shoulder and press into it so you roll to the right hip. Left leg stacks on the right. If you can, the head stays on the ground. And we're opening up the right shoulder here. Some folks can have their arms straighter to the right, but that's not where my body is. Draw to your front. Move your head to face the opposite direction. Both arms in cactus outside your mat. Right hand under the right shoulder. Push yourself away, extending that right arm to come on to the left side of the body, opening up the left shoulder. Draw to the front of the body, forehead on the earth. Hands draw by your sides, and the fingers walk backwards, the palms face down. You're welcome to open up the feet a little bit or keep the legs tight together in a tree trunk sort of shape. And here, we're still walking the fingers back, keeping that energy so that the front of the shoulders are lifted from the earth. Start to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Draw the navel in and the pelvis forward. And really slowly, on an inhale, squeezing the belly, you're going to lift the heart forward and up. And forehead comes from the earth. Maybe the arms float away. And if you like, and especially if the feet are wide, you might float the legs. Use the breath a lot to find a little movement. Come all the way to the earth. Wriggle the hips to left and right. And send the arms long in front of you like a Superwoman pose. Lift the right arm off the earth. Bring it down. Lift the left leg off the earth. Bring it down. Lift the left arm off the earth. Bring it down. Lift the right leg off the earth. Bring it down. Right arm, left leg. Stay long. Lift the navel. Breathe here. 3, 2, and draw the arm and the leg back down. Left arm, right leg lift. Use the belly. Come back down. And then your true Superwoman pose. Lifting both arms and legs. They might only come up a little bit. Use the belly. Breathe. 3, 2. Come all the way to the mat. Wiggle the hips left and right. Bring the elbows underneath your shoulders. We're going to move into a Sphinx posture. Our second to last back bend. So drawing the forearms toward you as if you're dragging the mat toward you. You're going to lift from the elbows and from the low ribs. Press the bony hips at the front of the body to the earth so you're taking some of the energy out of your low back. You might even bring the feet wider. That might give you more to work with, or maybe it just feels better where you are. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Imagine the collarbones are smiling so wide like a big collarbone emoji. You could tuck your chin if that helps the back of your head. Breathe here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way to the mat, moving into a child's pose. Balasana 1 with your knees together might be ideal here. And if you take the knee closed child's pose, you can bring the top of the head to the earth rather than the forehead, as close to your knees as possible. And then swing your arms around so your hands are in contact with your legs or your feet. We're in a nice, beautiful, round, sort of rounded capsule here. So you can let the arms and the shoulders drop forward and down. Rise to your feet. Find your way all the way onto your back and take your time. Use whatever shapes and movements make sense for you. I'm going to take one more back bend and move into a twist. So we're going to take a Pilates style bridge, which if you have practiced with me more than a couple of times before, you probably have experienced if we've done bridge. So just like we did at the beginning of class, we're coming all the way to the mat and we're adjusting to create very little space in the low back between it and the mat. So if your normal sort of spinal shape is more of an arched low back, you're going to imagine, and this isn't for everyone because it doesn't work for everyone's spine, that not much more than a ladybug could crawl underneath your low back. So we spread the feet, wide hips distance, and we shift them forward so there's no possibility of the fingertips touching them. So they're about 6 inches or so from your seat. Then you're going to scoot your shoulder blades toward the hips on the same side and press your low back into the earth. Tuck your chin toward your neck, lifting your head up, and then drop your head back down. Keeping the palms on the earth, keeping the tailbone pointed toward the sky. You're going to imagine you're drawing the mat backward with your feet to shift the hips upward. Once they've lifted, you're going to squeeze the thighs, the backs of the thighs, so your hammies, and your glutes, lifting the pelvis toward the sky. And this might be where you stay, or maybe you sneak the shoulder blades toward one another. Pilates style back bend. If it makes more sense for you to do something supported, you can take a block, a blanket, or a cushion and place it here under your low spine. But even if you're supported, you want to squeeze the hamstrings, squeeze the glutes, and imagine you could iron out the creases where the thighs meet the hips. Lift the heart. Press into the big toe mounds. And slowly unzip the spine from top to bottom. Gently gather the knees into the chest. Give them a good squeeze. Maybe you take knee circles. We'll move into a twist. So feet to the earth. Shift the hips to the right. Gather the knees upward and drop them to the left. Knees can be stacked or scissored, or you can lengthen the right leg. Arms flop out, left to right, east to west. And the head gazes to the right. But your head doesn't gaze, your eyes do. Your eyes could even be closed. And here we'll practice what we did at the beginning, which is move the eyes farther in the direction that the head is turned. So you're going to move away to the right so that it's almost as if you're trying to look at the floor just above your right shoulder. Big, huge breath in. And let it go. Slowly return to your spine, all the way to the earth. And then shift the hips over to the left, taking your twist in the opposite direction, being sure to shift your shoulder blades if need be so they kiss the earth. Your gaze as far to the right as you can take it. Return to center. Lengthen the spine once again on the mat, and we'll drop into Superbadakonasana, or you're welcome to take a happy baby. Either way, the goal is opening up the inner thigh and the hips with a little activity in the outer thighs. If you are in Superbadakonasana, you might place the hands on the hip creases or one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. If you're in a happy baby, it feels really yummy to rock left and right, and you can add some momentum to that by extending one leg, then bending it, then extending the other leg and rebending it. Make your way to your final resting posture. That could be legs up the wall, actual legs up the wall. Viparita, I can't remember the name of it. Or more traditional, all the way on your back with the legs extended, the feet splayed. Palms face upward wherever you are, if possible, and if that feels okay for you, we'll take a huge breath in to cleanse everything out. Rather than thinking here, feel whatever's happening in your center chest. If you tend to have more of a gut feel or a central forehead feel, allow that to happen. Your beautiful gem of a heart, the compassion with which you are born, sometimes seems obfuscated or maybe even disappeared. But it is our essence, our nature, to be kind, to be compassionate. And our lives create layers over that, layers that start to blind us to our true self. We have hearts. Let's use them. With a gentle reawakening of the body, the breath deepens, allowing you to roll onto one side. Pick a side, doesn't matter which. Give yourself a nice hug while you're there. And come back to your intention or motivation as you press yourself back to a comfortable seat. Hopefully, legs in a non-habituated shape. Palms pressed together at the heart. Heart reaches up toward the thumb knuckles, and the thumb knuckles connect with the heart. We'll close our practice as we began, chanting the sound of Om, which connects us with everything in nature. And with some intention added, we can connect our positive energy and the merits of the practice out to those people we pictured at the beginning of class and all those in need. So we'll loosen all the breath from the lungs and then fill back up. Some knuckles connect with the center forehead. May all beings live with and experience compassion. We bow. Namaste. Thanks for working this juicy heart practice with me today. It was great to be with you. And remember that recordings are always available to you. There is no class on the 25th, but there will be class on the 1st. As always, if you have funds, donate on the website. Heartfelt gratitude to all those who are bringing their practice to their mats and off their mats. Have a great one. My name is Karen. See you soon. Bye.